Am I the asshole for not giving a cupcake to a child who is not originally on the guest list? I, 24 female, recently returned to my hometown after being away for college and work. My grandma often hosts potluck parties where her 3 kids and their families can hang out. I am a pretty good baker, and the couple of times I brought baked goods over, I got lots of compliments, especially from the kids. For the potluck we had last week, I had promised to make a cupcake for each and every kid. 8 kids, all under 9. The adults would get a 2-pound cake to be shared. I elaborately decorated the cupcakes and made sure I made enough. I didn't have the energy to make extras. On the day of the party, one of my cousins brought her boyfriend and his kid, Gina, 7 female, over unannounced. Gina saw the cupcakes each kid got and wanted one too, so my cousin brought her to me to ask for a cupcake. I apologized and told them that all the cupcakes were spoken for and that she was welcomed to have a slice of the 2-pound cake as it was the same flavor. Gina said she wanted the pretty cupcake. My cousin then said I should just give her one because she was sure at least one of the kids would not show up. Again, I refused, saying that I promised all the kids a cupcake and would feel awful if anyone had to miss out on the promised cupcake. My cousin then walked away with Gina. She was right though, as one of our cousin's girls, Amy, 8 female, was sick and couldn't come. However, her dad and older brother did, and the brother asked if he could take the cupcake back home to Amy, and I said yes. My cousin and Gina were in the kitchen when I brought the cupcake inside to pack it up for Amy. When they saw me packing the cake, they asked about it, and I said it was for Amy who was sick. Pictures from the party were recently posted. Many parents posted pictures of their kids with my cupcake. My cousin sent me a message telling me that Gina was really upset that Amy, who wasn't even at the party, got a cupcake while she didn't. She said I was AH for hurting a little girl's feelings. I think I did the right thing giving the cupcake to Amy as I did promise her one. Still, Gina was right there at the party. Am I the asshole? All the cupcakes were spoken for. Your cousin was essentially asking you to punish Amy for being sick by giving her cupcake to Gina instead. Gina was an add-on, and as such, she was welcome to enjoy the cake, but not to steal a cupcake that was promised to and designated for someone else. Not the asshole. This is the perfect illustration as to why you do not want surprise guests. While yes, it's generally good practice to make extras just in case, it's not a requirement, and it's not rude or a breach of etiquette if you don't. Some of the really pretty baked goods are very time-consuming. I say this as a former pastry chef. With all the different colored frostings and elaborate techniques, you could easily spend a couple of hours decorating 8 cupcakes. I don't fault OP for not having the energy to make a couple of just-in-case cupcakes. Not the asshole. Gina needs to learn that just because you want something doesn't mean you will get it. Your cousin is teaching her stepdaughter-to-be to be entitled. Good on you for saving the sick Amy a promised cupcake. I'm sure it made her day night. Your cousin is the AH for bringing a child unannounced and not managing her daughter's cupcake expectations appropriately. OP, not the asshole. Not the asshole. I think sending the cupcake to the sick child who was promised one was the right move. She already was missing out on the party, which Gina was able to enjoy. And the cupcake was made specifically for her. I think your cousin demanding a cupcake for Gina before he even knew whether or not there would be no-shows was pretty entitled. Cousin showed up unannounced with her boyfriend's child, who understandably was not on your radar as a potential guest. She should have asked first. The non-asshole is of course the child, who probably did feel left out not getting a cupcake, but perhaps the adults could have collectively come up with some other special thing for her, in addition to a piece of the cake. A special drink, handmade crown, whatever. This is just so weird. I can't decide if everyone sucks or no one does. I can't imagine a little girl seeing a cupcake and me not at least promising her one next time. Telling her I didn't know she would be there, so I'd make her 2 next time to make up for it. I also couldn't imagine not at least making some extra cupcakes that were just iced and less elaborate. It seems weird to bring something when there's not enough for everyone and limit it to people under 9. You even made a cake with the same flavor. You also could have given the little girl the sick kid's cupcake and made the sick one a new cupcake when she feels better. I mean, it's a 7-year-old watching everyone else get something special. She didn't cry or throw a tantrum. She was sad and disappointed, and that would have made me feel horrible and do anything to rectify it. I agree. I was shocked that the OP only made the exact number of cupcakes needed. I always make extras because things happen. I would rather have too many than not enough. Not the asshole. You promised the cupcake to Amy. Your cousin's boyfriend's kid was not part of the original agreement. There was cake, so it's not like you made the kid have nothing while everyone else got a treat. This situation is certainly interesting and a bit controversial. There are valid points on both sides, but I can understand why the original poster chose not to give a cupcake to the uninvited child. From the promises made to the kids to the specific effort put into decorating the cupcakes, it's clear that a lot of thought and care went into this decision. Plus, the cousin brought the child unannounced, so it's understandable that the poster stuck to the original plans. However, I can also see how the little girl might have felt left out. It's a tough situation, and I'd love to hear more about how the poster handled it in the moment. How did the kids at the party react when there weren't enough cupcakes for everyone? And did the cousin's reaction after the fact change how the poster felt about the situation? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. Am I the asshole for telling my mom we don't view her eldest as our brother, and she needs to stop forcing him on us? I, 28 male, am the youngest of 3, though if you asked my mother, she'd say 4. Prior to my eldest brother Christopher's birth, my parents had another baby that was born still. His name was James. My parents consistently talked about him. He was included in family portraits, where one of us held the only picture we have of him, Christmas cards, etc. He was mentioned at every single big event. My brothers and I have tried to tell our parents we are uncomfortable with the picture, as it's morbid to us, as well as we don't want it included all the time. My mom always insists and tells us that James is family. She also gets upset if I refer to Christopher as my eldest brother, or if one of us say we have 2 brothers. We've tried to explain we were born after James and don't have the attachment she does. This has led to several arguments, and usually it isn't worth it, so we just give in and say fine. She can bring the photo and talk about James there. Christopher is getting married. After talking with his fiancée Lily, they both said the picture cannot come. They said they'll include James in the program alongside his Lily's grandmother, who passed as a sort of guests we are thinking of on this special day. But there will be no detailed essay that our mom usually includes on the holiday cards to memorialize James. She got very upset by both things and called them insensitive. They are sticking to their guns. My mom was venting to me, and I told her I agreed with Christopher and Lily. I said that James isn't here. We have no connection to him, and she can't keep shoehorning him in. She can't expect us to make everything about him. That obviously, she won't ever be over James's death, but it's time to stop making him front and center. I also added that none of us view James as our brother. She began to cry and left. My dad is angry with me beyond belief, as are some other family members. My brothers are on my side, but I need some unbiased perspective. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your parents needed therapy to deal with this about 30 years ago. Of course, losing James was very hard for them. A stillbirth is very sad. But this kind of enduring, clinging to that is not normal or healthy. If they wanted to do something to remember him on his birthday, okay, maybe, but not at every occasion, not when none of your siblings ever knew him. Keep sticking up for Christopher and Lily because their wedding is their day and it's supposed to be happy. It does not need an outsized and awkwardly sad reminder of a lost baby. Maybe you and all your brothers need to stage some kind of intervention with your parents, after the wedding, perhaps, and talk to them about getting a therapist. You love them and care about their pain, but they can't keep forcing this in every Christmas, every wedding, the eventual births of grandchildren, etc. She's going to insist that the first grandson is called James. Not the asshole. It wouldn't be an issue that your mother doesn't want to forget, but she not only refuses to forget, she makes sure no one else can forget. It's been over 30 years. It's not healthy to still be this attached to a life sadly never lived. She's made up more about the potential life James could have lived than the life he was able to live, which feeds back into her obsession. The wedding is about the lives of Christopher and Lily moving forward, not dwelling on ghosts of the past. OP's mother wants to make this about the latter as much as possible because she's accustomed to family celebrations being for channeling the memory of James, even though she's the only one still stuck in the past. It very much brings to mind this post, post.reddit.com/amithasholes, comment/Ada for telling my daughter to get over herself. She's made it more about the potential life James could have had than the actual lives her living kids have. Not the asshole. The wedding is about the bride and groom. Your mother needs to come to terms with the fact that in her lifetime, she had 4 children. But for yours, you've only ever had 2 brothers. Christopher grew up in the shadow of his late brother. How much of his mother's actions were about seeing him as a second chance or second coming of James, rather than being his own person? Not the asshole. Just adding my vote. I understand the grief that a parent has for a child that has passed on, but your mother has been unreasonable and obsessive about this. The only reason you and your siblings are reacting is because of the way that it is being forced upon you. So on that basis, I don't think you're the assholes here. Not the asshole. A stillbirth has to be unimaginably painful, and your parents obviously have deep grief. But what they've done with that grief for 30 years is interfering with their relationships with their living children. This is not okay. It's not healthy for them or for you. It is not normal to make children hold a photo of a dead baby in family photos. It's not normal to send photos of a dead baby with Christmas cards. Someone should have intervened with your parents years ago, but at the very least, now that y'all are having to confront the issue, it's time to get them some help. This situation is really sad and difficult for everyone involved. It's clear that there is a lot of pain and unresolved grief at the center of this family's dynamic. To see the family torn apart over something so tragic is heartbreaking. It's understandable that the siblings want to move forward and start their own families without being constantly reminded of a sibling they never knew. It's also great to see that the siblings are sticking together and supporting each other. They are trying to establish healthy boundaries for their own lives and future families. It's important to consider the mother's perspective and the immense pain she must be feeling. However, it's also clear that the siblings' feelings should be respected and their upcoming wedding should be a joyous occasion without the overshadowing of past grief. How do the siblings plan to navigate this situation with their parents in a way that is respectful and understanding of their grief, while also standing up for their own boundaries? Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the Books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.